I've got a nice freshly cut stack of paper, my basic smoothie bowl, and let's get started. So here is the idea that I think I would like to work with. So I just took a picture of one of my more final sketches, I guess. And then I started with adding some sketch layers on the top of that. I just simply started adding the colors on top. And that's kind of the color scheme that I came up with. So I was thinking about what colors I really wanted to use to make it look coherent, but also something that I would kind of enjoy using for the rest of this month practically. So what I have is kind of like a navy bluish color, bluish purple color, and then some pink. I really want to add like a reddish pink because I really like those two colors together. And then to also tie it in, I added a little bit of green. So maybe I'll play around with a border of some type, some flowers. I'm not too sure, but kind of the basic composition is just the girl and the hand and kind of these two colors and maybe a pop of green. So that's what I was thinking with my digital sketch. Okay, so quick disclaimer, there are people shouting across the street from me, and I cannot be bothered to close my window because that is the biggest pain ever. So hopefully you don't hear any weird screaming or anything, and if you do, don't worry, it's just the random people across the street. Okay, disclaimer over, and hello there, and welcome to my channel. So today, or rather this month, I am going to try to do something crazy. Maybe it's not crazy, maybe it's crazy for me, I don't know. But anyways, I am doing a challenge where basically you draw the same exact thing every single day. So I've seen maybe a couple, one or two videos on YouTube, but the main person I saw that did this is Zoffer, I think that's how it's pronounced. I will link their channel and this exact video in the description if you're interested for kind of where I got this idea from. So I believe she did this quite a few months ago, but I feel like now it's the summertime and I'm kind of have a little bit more free time that maybe I would actually be able to do this instead of failing and not being able to draw every single day this month. So in this video is kind of just an introduction to what I will be doing and kind of what I'm thinking of and how I'm going to approach this challenge. So my idea here is that the first day I really spent a good amount of time, quite a few hours, kind of developing the idea of what I actually wanted to draw and developing some of the main colors, like for example her hair and her clothes and some things like that that I wanted to use. And of course just the position and the whole character. But besides that, I feel like everything else will be really open-ended, if you will, so I really wanted to experiment with this challenge. So every day I wanted to try something a little bit different. Maybe one day I'll use watercolors. I also got some gouache recently, so I really want to try that out. Maybe one day I will line it with a brush pen, which I don't use very often, so try to, try different mediums, experiment like I kind of really haven't done before, experiment with mediums that I don't use often. And I also, since I'm drawing the same exact thing every day, I'm not going to be worried about the composition or anything, so maybe I will also experiment a little bit with different color combinations and maybe try to figure something like that out. And I'm just going to tell you right now that I may not be able to record or take videos, but at least I'll take pictures of every single day. And then at the end of the month, I'll compile it into one big video and kind of talk about my experiences. So for this first painting, I really took my time, maybe took 2 hours or so, 1.5, 2 hours to do from the sketching to the finished product of this piece, but of course I spent a little bit of time beforehand, really planning it out and getting the expression right, the features, getting the hand position right, and all of that kind of stuff. So for the idea and kind of what's the word I'm looking for, not the composition, but the pose, I guess, I looked through a lot of Pinterest photography and things like that as a reference for kind of the facial expression, but mostly for kind of a lighting reference and how to do that. So that's another thing that I would like to experiment with and kind of really practice, is lighting, and maybe doing some extreme lightings and not being afraid to kind of go out of my comfort zone while I'm doing this. And another thing is that I usually don't work on such a small area. So the pages or the papers that I cut out are all 5x7. And for me personally, that's way smaller, especially way smaller than I usually draw faces. So that's another little challenge, I guess, for me at least, is to really practice drawing smaller than I normally do and kind of getting the proportions of the face right when it's that small. So with this painting specifically, especially with the skin, I really practiced a lot of layering and layering of different colors. So in the beginning you saw there that I used a lot of kind of a rosy pinkish color underneath to highlight the shadows, Does that make any sense? To put in that shadow color. And then I went over with a glaze and added some shadows, and then in the end added a few touches of blue to kind of give the skin a little bit more depth and not just a solid wash. And then in the end, I decided to do some random background. It's blue and it has these random clouds. So this was not planned at all. I kind of just jumped into it and crossed my fingers and hoped that it would work nicely or work well, or, you know, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but of course I have 29 more days to kind of experiment and see what does work with this background, or how to add a background that works with this piece, I guess. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you stick around and subscribe for more if you're interested, and I'll see you later. Toodles!
They said 23. Oh, 10.